Yes, thanks for staying with us on the sports show. Of course, we have all these elite athletes coming through. We just finished interviewing a young future footy star for the females. Now, where do they go to get some advice? We say get to next level elite. Our next guest, Stewart McCully, joins us. Stu, how are you?
Going well, thank you.
Now, mate, you've got a nice little business going. It's been going for a while now, and you work with a lot of these elite athletes. You've got your 10-week course, you've got your one-on-one stuff going.
Yeah.
What do you reckon the biggest hurdle is? I know there's multiples, but the one that seems to be the hardest one to get across with elite athletes.
Really good question, Smiley, and it's a conversation I have with a lot of, whether it's coaches or athletes or their parents. And the number one thing that always pops up is overthinking. And so with the athletes, whether it's worrying about the competition that's coming up, whether it's how they performed in the last one, whether it's they've overcome an injury and they're worried that they're going to get dropped.
Yeah.
There's a gazillion things that are going on, but that also, if you become in that habit of worrying and overthinking about your performance in the sport, that becomes a bit of a habit. So then when things transfer over into things like school, they're worried they're not going to get that done and they're going to get the wrong grade. So have many conversations with them about, if that's something that pops up, we go, right, if overthinking for you is a real hurdle, let's have a look at all the other areas apart from just your sport side of things. So, yeah, it's a ripper.
One of the things that I read when we knew you were coming on, one of the things that stood out to me was everybody sees the glory, but they don't see the story. I think that's a really important line. That because we all see them win, we all see them jumping high, running fast and winning and having a great time, but it's the lead up, the build up, and what happens when they're not in the glory, when they're not up there doing that. I mean, that's got to play on people's minds because the normal punter wouldn't even think about that, watching Jess Rengo doing a brilliant job in a marathon. Wouldn't know about the work.
And unless and that's why I'm really privileged to be able to work with a lot of athletes. So I've worked across, I think it's about 18 different sports now, and they're not all the team sports. It tends to be a lot of the individual type athletes who don't have as much support around them. So they don't have as many coaches or other teammates. So for them, creating that posse of supporters around them, their own team, is absolutely crucial. And until you actually delve in and finding out what goes on behind the scenes, so what a Jess does, in her day-to-day stuff and making sure she's got the physios and recovery and whatever. So they have a coach as well, but on a personal level, when you become successful, people want you to go and do things as well. Yeah. And how it's also how you balance that and fit everything else in. Learn to say no, learn what's a good opportunity, but also understand what your brand is. And we work a lot about that with a young person. What do you want to do?
And it's a thing that you don't only talk about mind or you talk media. You try and teach them how to handle media, all those sorts of things as well.
Sure.
Another thing that the normal person out there is not going to be thinking about. They're only thinking about what they're actually going to do when they compete. Are they going to win?
Yep.
So this is a whole gamut of things, massive gamut of things that you teach.
It is a wide variety, and I do bring some experts in the 10-week program. So the hand of the media, we have Andrew Capel from The Advertiser. We have Lisa McCaskill, who talks about the public speaking. Stewart O'Grady is a 6-time Olympian who talks about preparing for competition, getting the mindset, how you keep at top level for such a long time, right through to different areas. Then I spend the time, I suppose, delving into their real life and finding out what's giving you grief now. And that can change. Okay. That can actually change weekly. Yeah. So I'm a big believer that until you understand your people, you don't know what you need to do to support them. Yeah. So if I know that person is an overthinker, and I've got quite a few I've been working with, who, if that's the main thing that I have to keep tapping back into, that's the key to knowing that they're getting the support that they need in the here and now. So,
yeah.
it's a diverse role for me, and I keep learning all the time as well. So, every athlete and every sport that I come across, I learn more information, and I can actually pass it on to others who are part of the program, which is great.
Continues to evolve, no question. Stuart, I'm interested, you touched on forming a team around the individual, and obviously around a team we do. We came from team sports, much bigger supporter base.
Yep.
How do you identify the right people to go around the team? So hypothetically, we pick a footballer that's really good, but his mum's overprotective, almost to the point of interfering with this. You could be a basketball or a cricketer. Yep. How do you deal with that? Just that situation.
Yeah, that's a fairly common one with parent involvement. And look, parents want the best for their kids.
Absolutely.
And I suppose the conversations that I have with those young adults, which they are, and if they're 15, 16, 17 years old, at some stage they need to start making some decisions. So if we start putting them out of their comfort zone a little bit more, and if they can understand what they actually need, and if they're hearing and learning from other athletes and other sports, so that's quite unique, which we bring together. So whether we've worked with a few Redbacks cricketers, and if they're sitting in the room with a baseball and a triathlete and a cyclist and a hockey player or a
great environment,
whatever, they're like, okay, so it sort of normalises what it is, and they can find out what those people are actually doing in their worlds. So to answer your question, the individual sort of has to work out what it is for them by hearing what others are experiencing, what's working for them. And that's why I sort of say, let's all dump it in the table here.
Yep.
In the middle, you pick the bones out of it, but make sure you make those decisions with the right ones for you. So choosing who,
Who gets in your program? How do you come up with these people? Like, I know that you've got Stewie and Jess Trengo, you've got a couple of footballers, you've got you've got a wide range of sportsmen. Do you approach that sportsman? Do you go after that sportsman, or do they come to you?
Not necessarily. I've got a pretty good relationships with a lot of the state sporting organisations, a lot of coaches, but the athletes that have done the program are my best advocates. They're the ones who sort of talk to others and say, you should go and have a chat with Stewie and see how things evolve from there. So I suppose the word of mouth, yes, it's very powerful, and what we run is not for everyone. So you've got to, it's based around giving back. So if you're not prepared to sit in a room and share information about what you do, so in turn you can receive it from others, then it's probably not suited for you. But if you're this hungry young person who says, I want to get there now or yesterday, and I want to learn from other great people, that's the good opportunity for those people to get on board.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to get into trouble because the boys are giving me the wind-up here, but I want to find out about this one, not just elite athletes, you've got shearers as well. So how does a shearer fit in with an elite athlete?
Well, if you think about it, if you have to wrestle this live animal and shear between maybe 200 and 300 of those a day and bent over and be mentally and physically strong, what I'm dealing with shearers and wool handlers is no different. Okay, and the conversation's been, well, you are actually elite athletes, and if you want to get better at doing that, we can transfer some of those habits that you can learn. So that means sleeping 8 hours a night and refueling and eating the right food and drink and water. You'll actually share more and you make more money.
That's a competitive game.
Hey, Stewart McCully, our special guest, Next Level Elite. Google it up and they can get you on the right track. Stay with us, a bit more to come.